Hello， 大家好，欢迎收看今天的节目。那接着上一期的视频，今天的节目呢是关于新加坡艺术留学方面的内容分享。那 Clarence 作为拉萨尔艺术学院的钢琴老师，他对于这些信息和内容是再清楚不过了。那让我们来听听他作为老师对于自己学生的一些入学要求。另外呢，视频的后方也会有一些他自己在演奏方面的心得分享，希望大家看到最后。In general,what is admissions requirements for the students?
In each university, of course, there are different requirements. In Singapore, for sure, English is a requirement. So foreign students, you will have to pass an English test, and you will see which kinds of English tests that they will recognize. So that's for sure.
Checked your school's the website yesterday. I see you offer so many different programs: a diploma, BA, honor degree, right, and the postgraduate degree. I saw it, but for each of them, the BA degree is only a certificate, or it's not really bachelor degree, right?
It's a bachelor degree, but it's a bachelor. Yeah, currently it's recognized by Goldsmith University, which is a college in the UK. But actually, after next year, LaSalle College of the Arts and NAFA, the Nanyang Academy of Fine Arts, they are forming an alliance together. So to form what we call the University of the Arts, Singapore. So then next year it will be a totally different kind of situation.
Okay.
But most of the time is English is important. Making sure that you pass, you go through your basic education. Like here it says senior high school living certificate for people from China. So. Okay. but each depending on the school you go to, they have very clear requirements based on which country you come from. So you have to read that carefully. But I think in the art school still the most important thing is the playing. So if you play extremely well, then I think if the teacher like us feels like you got to be here, we really want to teach you, I'm sure that we will find ways to see how we can get a student into the college.
How many repertoire I have to play and for application?
So in LaSalle it's a little bit easier. I think, if I'm not wrong, NAFA as well it's just two contrasting pieces.
Okay.
So but if you look at Young Conservatory of Music, it's for piano. Piano at least is a lot tougher. We have like 5 different pieces you require, and of course depend on instrument, right? Like like flute it has their own.
Almost the same.
Specific requirements.
Now, as you're a piano faculty, as a teacher, what's the main point or what's the main ability you are looking for?
For me personally, the most important thing I think is having a very unique voice, and the person has lots of very expressive. That includes to me is their personality, the ability to express themselves in a way without fear, without being concerned about too much at the time about right and wrong. Because to me, I think interpretation, technique, those are the things that I can teach them. Those are the things they can learn. But the X factor, the personality, the ability to have something special on stage when they play, and the expression, that is very hard to teach, very hard to get someone to be able to do that on stage. The kinds of things we deal with is like half of the time you got to try to get them to be a bit more daring, more brave. I think because a lot of times they are trying to be correct, like what's the correct way to play it, what's the wrong way to play it. But and when they think like this, sometimes their playing becomes a little bit kind of very dry. That lacks that special character. Which if you see all the great musicians, the people that you remember that are famous, they all may not always be correct, but they have something that
to say
very unique. Yeah, very unique to say, and they have no fear to say that. Yeah. Need a break. So if you want to teach them or ask them to do something, it's important that the teacher, you are able to do it as well. I think if the teachers can do it and can show it, I think the students have a little bit more respect also. And
of course.
And they know what it sounds, and then they will work harder. I find that's the advantage. So the advantage is that when you are still performing and you're still practicing and you're still active, then it helps a lot to help all these students. And also one more thing is that as a performer, we understand how our students feel. We understand the kinds of struggles they have as a performer, because we also have the same thing. So to me it's a great learning experience. I'm learning from them as much as they're learning from me.
Okay. Can you still guarantee that the time of practicing?
No. Well,
so how many hours, you practice per day?
So nowadays is more like, because before performance, as you get to be a professional musician, the amount of time you have to prepare your music gets shorter. And of course, the amount of time you have to practice also gets less. So it depends on what kind of performance. But I try to squeeze out at least 1 to 2 hours a day if I can. But even that sometimes is challenging, because there are certain days I teach an entire day in the college. Then when you go back home, you're so tired, you just need a break.
When I'm teaching, for me, it's really hard to really teach them how to hear rather than play.
Yeah, so normally for me, that's what I do. I always tell them that, of course, there are certain ways that are not appropriate, so not very good. But there are also a lot of very good ways to do something. So it's not just like right, wrong, one answer, 2 answers. So a lot of times when they come in, usually I will try to tell them like what are the things that I think they should avoid doing, what are the things they should for each style, to give them some background on each style, what's appropriate, what's correct and not so correct. And then after that, I will allow them or I will force them to make their own decisions. So occasionally I will tell them, okay, do it for me in 2 different ways or 3 different ways. And then I after that, only I would tell them about how I would do it and why I would do it in my way. I always joke with my students. So I do have some of my students who like to always overplay, So I would tell him, like it's like a bodybuilder, right? A bodybuilder who goes to the gym and you build all that muscle up. You got to know how to use the strength. You may have the strength, but it doesn't mean, if you're going to hold a glass, you got to crush the glass because you got to show you're very strong. It's good to have the strength. It's to me, it's the range is important. That you can produce a strong sound, but you should also be able to produce
the layer,
gentle.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. And at the end of the day, it's the musical intention that is the most important. That's what you want to say emotionally, what you want to say in the story of the piece. That's the main intention. If your main intention is just, like I say, to show off that I got a big sound, then it's wrong. Yeah. But if you're playing a big sound here because the music is so powerful and so intense, then that is different. But that to me, intention is very important.
Okay.
Important is how you accept that as a performer, that this is going to be part of the career. So if you want to be a performer, you got to know that this is the feeling you're going to feel every time. Then how do you overcome this? How do you
overcome, right?
How do you feel comfortable enough that you can play on stage even if your hands are cold? Even if your hands are shaking, how can you still play well on stage? That is the main thing. And again, like I say, is to remember that when you're up on stage, you have to focus on the music. You have to trust yourself. That's why you practice a lot. The more you practice, the more prepared you are. Then, of course, the more confident you will be on stage. But if you're not prepared, for sure, you will be nervous. I think it's the foundation. That's why I tell my students, when you are a student, work hard, practice a lot. When I was a student, I used to practice 5 to 7 hours a day, especially when I was doing international competitions. Every day, 7 days a week, I practice a lot. And it's because of all that hard work that I put in when I was much younger. And that's why right now, I can get myself ready in much shorter amount of time. Because of course the technique foundation is there. Your understanding of the music is better. Your understanding of the harmonies, the voice leadings, the orchestration, all this, the composer intention and the style. So when you understand this better, in a performance, you'll be more confident. It's like an aeroplane. If your aeroplane has more engines, then if one engine fail, you still can play. So like younger students tend to play a lot by muscle memory.
Yeah.
So like they don't know harmony, they don't know what chords they are playing, they don't know the voice leading, they don't know the structure. So when they play on stage, they are just relying on muscle memory. So if muscle memory fails, then the performance collapses. But as a more experienced performer, you start to know the music from an emotional point, from a technical point, a harmonic point, also muscle memory in terms of the structure and the story. So if one engine fails, I can very quickly go on and use another engine. So you can quickly change it. So that's how you maintain the level of playing. Also, I think the older you get, in a way, you start to focus a lot more on the music itself. So you're not thinking so much about the audience, about what they feel about you or what people think about you. So you start to really think truly about, that this music you're playing is so beautiful, it's so special, and you have a very special interpretation that you would like to share with people. So it's all these things that I think helps me to prepare and be confident on stage, even though I don't have that much time to practice anymore. Yes, huge responsibility. I think as a teacher, we really need to think that we are bringing up the next generation of students. And as teachers, in fact, all of us, I think we had make some mistakes in our own career, in our own life. And I think it's important that our job is to make sure that our students don't make the same mistakes, to make sure that our students will gain something from our experience, and to help them to get to the level that we get to in a much faster and I think a much easier way.
Yeah.
But also the most important thing is to help them to understand that in life, everyone has a different purpose. Everyone has a different path. No two person will walk the same path. And the most important thing is that they must find meaning in their life, and they must always be grateful for what they have, and they must also find happiness and peace.
Yeah.
Because if not, then no matter what they achieve or what they get, they will not be happy. They will always be unhappy. There are many people you hear of that they achieve a certain success, and then after that they're extremely unhappy. And then so to me it's very important is the attitude in life towards life. And to find their own purpose, and to make the world, I think, a better place, to try to use their gift, their talents, or to help people, to find true joy and happiness, than just thinking about success, about I want to make a lot of money, I want to be very famous. Because there are many famous people, successful people who have shown us that it doesn't mean it makes you happy.
Yeah.
那视频进行到这儿呢，其实我跟 Clarence 还聊了很多，除了演奏和教学方面的经验交流，我们在艺术的观点上也产生了很多火花和碰撞。新一代的音乐家在世界的舞台上占据着越来越重要的位置，那我也期待着尽快可以在中国的舞台上看到 Clarence 的身影，为我们带来一场不同的视听体验。好了，这个就是今天的节目了，我们下期见。